Hi lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to Makeup.misfit and welcome to day 12 of a very merry Jessmas. Today, you guys, we are going to sit and chat about my top 3 eyeshadow palettes. Now, my top 2 I knew instantly and I was like, what is my third? And as soon as I thought it was going to be hard to try and figure out what my third eyeshadow palette was, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, nope, that's it. It took me about 30 seconds to find it. So I have all 3 here sitting in front of me right now. I'm curious if you guys are going to have any inkling, any idea about what these 3 palettes are, especially if you've been around for a little while and you watch some of my penning projects. You may know, you may not, but when you see them, it may make a little bit more sense. So we are going to start off with number 3, work our way up to number 1, and I am so excited to show you guys. So number 3, which also happens to be the biggest, number 1 happens to be the smallest, so that's kind of cool in the way that worked. But number 3 is by Give Me Glow, and it is the Pastel Dreams palette. You guys, this thing makes my heart sing. I don't know what I would do without this palette. Yes, it's not something that I wear every single day. It's definitely something that I haven't worn in a while. I did mention this palette in one of my tag videos, maybe both of them. I can't quite remember at the moment. And I said, I want to reach for this soon. I miss it. I miss playing around with it. Hopefully I will get around to doing something with this sooner than later, but this palette, just from the moment I saw it, like, of course the packaging just completely drew me in, but the inside of this, please don't mind mine, it is a little bit messy. I tried to depot this so I could write on the back. So this shade right here, La La Land, is a little broken, unfortunately, but this is what the inside looks like. The pastels in here, the shimmers in here, the fact that each matte has a corresponding shimmer. This palette, like I've said before, when I wear it, I literally wear all 12 shades at once. All 12 of them. And for the most part, it's been blue, purple, green, peach, pink, and yellow. I wouldn't mind switching it up. Maybe try and do, like, you know, the peach, the green, and the yellow, and then the pink, the blue, and the purple. Or even do purple, peach, pink, or green, or blue, pink, and yellow, or whatever. But I wear all 3 mattes in the crease, and then all 3 shimmers all over the lid, and I do 3 on one eye, 3 on the other. And, like, yes, obviously I've dipped into this just for like a shade here or there, but more often than not, this palette is a all 12 shade palette, used at one time palette. I don't know why. This is the only palette in my collection that I've done that with, the only one that I've wanted to do that with, the only one that I feel that pulled to do that with, and I love it. I love how it turns out every time. So it's definitely more, of course, the pastel spring Easter kind of palette. So if I pull this into the winter, which I could with the purples, I could with, you know what, I actually could do it with like the purple, blue, and green. So maybe I'll do that, throw a little pop of pink in the corner or something like that. I mean, obviously you can wear whatever you want at any time of year. I like to wear makeup seasonally, but I wouldn't mind pulling this out sometime soon. But like I said, as soon as I had seen this palette, I instantly knew that this was my number 3 palette, which is hard to say because I love it so, so much. But it took me about 30 seconds. As soon as I saw this, I knew this was it. And this is for sure my number 3 palette. Now, number 2, you guys have seen this. You guys have seen me love on this palette. You guys have seen this palette go through it time and time again. And this is my Mercury Retrograde palette. So the packaging is broken. That's what got me started on working on this in my Panning Solitaire project. So I will show you guys the inside. It has not changed from the last time you saw the last update with this palette in there. I haven't been updating this palette because there's been no movement So nothing's gonna look different. I'm not spoiling anything. The packaging is broken, like I said. So if you haven't watched that, it is broken. But look, like I've completely used up 2 shades. Okay, I believe this one was, yes, this Momentum was just the beige matte shade that I used to set down my lids. This shade right here, which was called, if I could read because it's dark out here, yeah, Supermoon. The most incredible like topper that was like ever. I absolutely loved it. One of my favorite shades in this palette. Of course, this one right here is my other favorite shade. That is Nebula. I absolutely loved it. I think it's stunning. The mattes in here are super nice. The ones that I still have yet to hit pan on are Vortex and Haze. One day it's gonna happen, but like this has so much love on it, and this is a palette that I would want to purchase again to have a backup of, because it was just beautiful. The color story got me in this one so much. It's definitely got her mauves, her pinks, her neutrals in here. But like when it was swatched out on Sephora, there was just like a group of shades that I think started like around, I don't even think it was this whole top row. It was just like a bit of this, and it just like pulled me in even harder, and I had to get this. There was no way I couldn't purchase this. It was 50% off. I wish I bought 2 at the time. I almost bought this another time. I think Sephora, no, not Sephora. Huda's website had this on sale, but they had it like as a bundle with other things, and I didn't want the other stuff and it wasn't worth it and blah blah blah. You know how it goes. But this palette, this packaging, like as much as I talk about how I don't like her eyes, this fits. This is just stunning. It's holographic. It's beautiful. The shades there, like right there. This whole thing. I wish this packaging didn't break. Now, if it never broke, I can't say I would have been like as enticed to start using it when I did. That is why I pulled it in. That is why I used it. But like after using this, I would just like, there's no way I could let this sit and just like not get any use on it. You know, minus the beautiful prestige look that it would have had. I've adored this so much. I just can't even. I'm gonna miss it when it's gone, because I'm telling you right now, it will be gone one day. And it's definitely not because of anything other than the use on this bad boy. I still reach for it every once in a while, not so much, but I definitely want to finish this off. There's shades in here that, this is the only shade besides Vortex and maybe Haze that like I'm a little bit iffy on. This one I didn't mind as much. They're not my favorite shades, but I would still make sure that they got some sort of use on it. And this is probably going to be a palette that I use up completely at some point in the future. I would like to hit pan on the last 2 shades before I do that, but who knows how that's gonna go. But this is definitely 100% in my number 2 spot. This was probably my number 1 palette for the longest time. It has been bumped down to number 2 because my number 1 palette, you guys, I swear, it is like magical. It doesn't matter what day it is. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Anytime I wear this palette, I feel so beautiful. And it's just like the comments that I get, not just on my eye look, but just, I was at work one day, it was a couple weekends ago, and besides the fact that my hair was curled, like my makeup, I never did anything different. I was at work, I was doing what I do. My hair was curled, but it has been plenty of times before. People have seen it, and the amount of comments on how pretty I looked that day was like, this girl felt incredible. And honestly, I've never had so many comments by using any other eyeshadow palette other than this. The Makeup by Mario palette is literal magic. I don't know. It is the toppers, I can tell you that much, because I have 3 pans now. The last time you saw this, I only had pan in this shade, which has grown so much. I have then hit pan in these last two shades, and this one is getting there as well. I still haven't reached for these 3, so it's pretty much these 9 that I reach for. This one and this one more, like these 3 mattes here, more frequent than anything. And I haven't used this yet because that's a beige matte that I'll eventually use to set down my list. So really, I guess it's 8 shades out of this palette. But regardless, I could use any mattes and throw on these toppers, or these mattes with these toppers, or literally just the toppers. And I was at work the other day and I looked up in the elevator and I saw the thing, and all I could think was like, not to whatever, but I just looked at myself and I was like, you look so pretty today. Like these toppers in this palette, something. I don't know what it is, but they're stunning. And apparently people are talking about how they don't like this palette. I don't know. I don't get it. This is my number 1 palette. This thing is magical. I absolutely love and adore this more than you could know. And for it to beat out this palette, which was my number 1 palette, it's saying a lot. This thing is just perfection. When I bought this, it's been almost a year now. I bought this at the very end of 2022 because I had only a little bit left to push myself over to rouge, and I wasn't going to waste all the money that I had spent at Sephora that year to not hit rouge again. So this was one palette that I bought it full price, which I don't like to do, but I had bought a couple high-end palettes to get me over to that rouge limit. And as like once I purchased this and got it in everything, like I reached for this so much at first, like as soon as I got it, which I normally don't do. Like I let things sit for a little bit, let them look brand new, let them look beautiful before they start to look like well loved and used. I dug into this thing like 5 times before like January was even over. Like that is unheard of. Well, not unheard of, but like it's very rare for me because like I said, I just love to let the new things just sit there for a bit and look so like pristine. No, not this. This was like, as soon as it came in, it was getting used on it. And from the moment I got it and the first time I used it, I knew that this palette was going to be one of my absolute favorites. And it is. It hasn't, all year round, it's been there. It's basically been at the top the whole time. I have other palettes that I absolutely love and adore that have come and gone and whatever, but like this year, last year, but this palette is one that I will 100% repurchase this palette. Like if I lost everything, this is the first palette that I would repurchase. 100%. There is no way that I could not have that palette in my collection. I just wouldn't feel complete. I would feel like I'm missing something. And that's how I feel about all of these palettes. I just feel like they give something to my collection that I may not have in another palette. And it doesn't even have to be like Color Story because that Makeup by Mario palette is neutral. I have neutral palettes. I have colorful palettes. But it's something about these that just make me feel like I would be missing out if I don't have them. And there's a couple other palettes like that in my collection as well, but these 3 just top everything else. I adore them so much. And I would for sure be repurchasing them if I needed to or had to. I know the Mercury Retrograde palette has been discontinued. You can no longer buy it. But the Pastel Dreams palette would be a repurchase. That Makeup by Mario palette would be a repurchase if I lost everything or if I used them all up, because I really feel like it's something that I would be missing in my collection and that I need, and that it's like a nice option to go to when you want something a little bit different, but something that you're going to love. It's easy to use for me. It's effortless. It's beautiful. It's just magical. So, sorry. So those are my top 3 eyeshadow palettes. As I said, they were like instant. I knew exactly what my top 2 were going to be. And as soon as I walked into the room with all of my eyeshadows and saw that Pastel Dreams palette, I was like, that is it. There's no other option. That's what I'm going with. That is number 3. And I obviously love these palettes so much. They are some of my, I don't even know. Obviously, I'd say favorites, but you know. Anyways, enough rambling. What do you guys think? What are your top 3 eyeshadow palettes, if you have any? Is it hard for you to figure out what your top 3 palettes are, or do you like instantly know what they are off the top of your head, or do you have to see the palette first before you're like, yes, that's the one, like I did with my Pastel Dreams palette? The other 2 I already knew. Do you have a top 3? Just let me know. What do you think of these palettes? Have you used these ones? Do you know what the issue is and why people don't like this? Because I will take them all if that's the case. Just send them my way. I will love this forever. This would be my, like, if I had to have one eyeshadow palette for the rest of my life, it would be that one. Absolutely 100%. So if people don't like them, I will take them. No question about it. I will make room for them all. Have you tried these brands before? I haven't tried any other Makeup by Mario palette. I was debating that like metallic mix medium palette, but I don't know if I actually would purchase it or not. I'm working on Huda. I've got other Huda ones, you guys know, and Gimme Glow, I've got a couple of others of those. So do you guys have any of these palettes or these brands? What do you guys think of them? Let me know down below. Let's chat. But that is everything. So thank you guys so much for watching. Can't believe day 12 is over. We're moving on to day 13, and I will see you guys all there. Bye.